Our Premier League insider David Ornstein put this out on Twitter. Chelsea agreed terms with Mauricio Pochettino to become new head coach in the summer. Details of the 51-year-old's appointment to be finalised in the coming days. And it sounds like Pochettino is going to be bringing all of the faces that he travels everywhere with, from Tottenham to PSG and the like. And delighted to say that David Ornstein, our insider for the Premier League, joins us this morning. So that came out, David, a little after 3 o'clock Eastern yesterday. How did it come about and what is the very latest?
Well, let's bring our audiences up to date, Rebecca. Terms have been agreed between Chelsea and Mauricio Pochettino after a 6-week process to appoint a new permanent head coach. He will take over properly in the summer, not before then, and that's something we'll come on to talk about. The final details and basically the announcement are going to be sorted in these next hours, so that I would expect early next week we should have confirmation. And finally, everybody will be able to hear from the owners and from Mauricio Pochettino himself. His staff is going to be really important to him. That will have formed part of the long and detailed negotiations. Of course, Jesus Perez is his right-hand man. He'll also come with Miguel D'Agostino again, Sebastian Pochettino, one of his sons, and Tony Jimenez as well. Interestingly, Chelsea will put some club staff in with them too, to really help build what they hope will be a proper, formidable coaching unit that avoids them having yet another change in the dugout at Stamford Bridge. Because let's remember, they've already had Thomas Tuchel, Graham Potter's assistant, and then Frank Lampard on a temporary basis. So this has been a real period of turbulence at Chelsea, and they'll want to get this right. They ran a really detailed and thorough, exhaustive, comprehensive recruitment process when they looked at many candidates, their qualities, their strengths, their weaknesses. They ran due diligence on all of them. They didn't want to make any mistakes in this. We saw candidates come and go, but I think Pochettino was one throughout who was always very highly regarded. It will be a long-term contract, but we know contracts don't tend to mean that much these days. I think what Chelsea are really prioritising is a long-term relationship. They hope that it will go on long into the future and that finally they can have stability in what's going to be an incredibly busy and important time at Stamford Bridge under the Todd Boehly and Clearlake Capital ownership. Finally, Mauricio Pochettino is going to come to the fore, and it's going to be an interesting road ahead.
So, David, the Chelsea job at the best of times is a big one, but this one, with the amount of players they've got and everything he's got to sort out, is gigantic. Why doesn't he just start tomorrow?
Yeah, Rebecca, I think Chelsea and maybe Pochettino as well would have wanted a clean break on this. Frank Lampard was appointed on an interim basis until the end of the season. And I think out of respect for him, his legendary status at the club, they want to get through to the summer with Lampard, who's been working with these players. I don't think a fifth different person in that hot seat in one season was something that appealed to anybody. With games still to be played against Manchester City, Manchester United, Newcastle United too. So let Mauricio Pochettino come in pre-season and really get working with these players, these staff, these executives on the training pitch and behind the scenes without quite the same glare as if matches were being played. There's also a lot to be sorted out when it comes to recruitment, when it comes to contracts, his style of working. This is a really intricate process that I don't think anybody had a desire to throw him into right now. The season has been bad enough for Chelsea. They may as well get through to the end of it. And that's because the owners can't afford this to go wrong. With all the chopping and changing, if Todd Boehly, Bedad Eghbali on behalf of Clearlake Capital don't get this right, then I think a lot of the eyes are going to turn on them. And that's why it was such a detailed process to really get to the man that they believed could lead them forward. We saw the likes of Julian Nagelsmann and so many others who came and went. But Mauricio Pochettino was the one I think they had set their eyes on from quite early. And now by bringing him in the summer, they can get stuck into those tough tasks. There's a lot of other stuff going on at Stamford Bridge at the same time. A new chief executive is coming in, Chris Jurasek, who was working at Clearlake Capital. So that's another bit of upheaval. But look at the in-tray for Mauricio Pochettino. You've got players like Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. What are they going to do about the striker position? They got midfielders and N'Golo Kante's contract, Mason Mount. Kovacic is wanted by other clubs as well. I think there'll be a change in the goalkeeping department too. This is a club who's spent £600 million in the last 2 transfer windows. More to come. financial fair play considerations, and I don't think they wanted to throw Mauricio Pochettino into that straight away, give him a fair runway in the summer, and let him attack it from next season onwards.
Yeah, interesting. David Ornstein, as always, our thanks. Brilliant scoop from David. Stephen, you actually disagree, don't you? You believe he should come in now. Why?
I think the industry is a very stats-driven industry at the moment. I wonder whether there's a part of that where he looks at it and goes, it's quite broken at the moment at Chelsea. I don't want that to affect where I start. But I take me into the locker room as a player and go, I want a manager in now. I want to know where I stand as a player, whether I'm part of the club moving forward or whether I'm going to move on. Because I also put myself in the position of a new player coming into the club. And Mauricio Pochettino rings up in the summer and goes, I'd like you to come in. And I'd be thinking, has it changed? Is there improvement there? What's gone on? At least now, give yourself a month until the end of the season, or a few weeks, whatever it is, to try and change the culture of the club and change the word around Chelsea Football Club, that he's come in and he's got himself and he's got an iron fist, and he's ruling the roost at Chelsea and starting to change things and get the mentality right. I just look at it and think it's an easy cop-out. And I listen to the talk of Frank Lampard and the respect for a Chelsea legend. He's not good enough. He's simply not good enough to do the job. So get the man in who is good enough to do the job who you're employing.
And I suppose also, if you don't bring him until the summer, he's going to have to make decisions on players, as Stephen says, without meeting them, without barely knowing them, certainly not seeing them in real life playing.
I just wonder if there's a situation, Rebecca, where he's influencing things from the background without going into football. And why I say that, I was doing the teams yesterday. Edward Mendy started in goal for Chelsea, first Premier League start since before the World Cup. I wonder if Poch has gone, let me have a look at him over the next few games. Felix and Sterling started in the team. Sterling got a couple of goals. I wonder if he's having that influence, Rebecca, but maybe at arm's length, maybe not being seen. Totally agree with Stephen in that if he walked into the training ground, then one day next week, I'll guarantee you training goes up 20, 30% because the boss is in. You're now accountable. And the other big thing I'd say for Poch, and I hope he's had a good rest because he's got some work to do going in this club, by the way. The first thing he's got to do is deal with the noise around Chelsea and quieten it down. Stop the noise, stop the gossip, and start building a football culture back at one of the biggest clubs in Europe.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host for NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch more videos all season long. For even more Premier League content, from original series to live matches, head over to Peacock and be sure to tune in for Premier League mornings every weekend on USA Network and on Peacock. We will see you over there.